Take me by the hand, I want to show you something. Not everyone is capable of risking their life for another in need. However, if you come across such a person, you must treasure them for all eternity. A certain feeling can be inflicted on a person in many different ways, but everyone needs to accept that having a sense of numbness towards such an event is relatable and not wrong in any ways. For a story so shocking, it's difficult to come to terms with. But after witnessing the cruel and inhumane world they had to be trapped in for what seemed like an eternity, it will be engraved in you forever. 3 months later, you could be walking down the street or talking to a friend, and all of a sudden, everything could hit you all at once. Like a dagger to the chest that is slowly softened as you remember the angel-like prisoners that are no longer in pain anymore. In the end, it comes down to us. We are the generation to keep the story being told. After all, the muffled voice from the past is struggling to be heard. We need to speak for them.
Take me by the hand, I want to show you something. The world is a cruel place, riddled with evil and destruction and terror. Horrific things happened in Poland. Millions of people, each with a name, a family, a story, were murdered. Murdered because they were different. Murdered because they were a scapegoat and they didn't fit into corrupted views. We were in thick layers in Poland, and those people were in thin uniforms. Reduced to a number, kept dirty, and shorn of their hair. Dehumanised. Babies were killed, children were experimented on. The physical labour and long hours and conditions were the most brutal and inhumane forms of torture imaginable. And the Nazis did everything they could to break these people. Do you know what? Many people didn't break. Many people kept their faith. They kept their hope, human kindness, and compassion. Many people also risked their lives that weren't Jewish, and these are known as righteous Gentiles, and they helped to hide people that were persecuted. They saved people's lives, even though it risked their own. An elderly woman, we heard from our tour guide, took a baby out the arms of her mother to save the young woman from the gas chambers. And people bonded together to look out for each other, and just like we did on the trip. I won't lie to you, Auschwitz and Birkenau and any concentration camps are horrific. Millions of people died there, but people survived too. And it's important to learn about what happened so you can educate yourself and others to remember that these suffered, but we don't have to suffer again. I can't tell you how you'll react if you go, but you should go because it's so important to see. And there'll always be people supporting you. There'll always be people there with you to help you and give you a hug or just sit in silence with you if that's what you need, because there is always hope.
Take me by the hand, I want to show you something. I want to show you why it was pride that got the devil kicked out, how it was pride amongst the Nazis that led to people with names, people with families, dreams and belongings, people like me and you, to be outcasted, neglected, hated and murdered. As I return from my visit, I bring you a gift, the greatest gift man can have, hope. I saw people who stood when everyone else bowed to their oppressors. I saw what happens when you close your door on the oppressed. I want to show you what hate can cause. I want to show you that when they said never again, they lied. I want to show you that you can make a change. I want to show you our past and I want you to show me our future. We the young are told we are the future. That's wrong, our time is now. Thank you.
Take me by the hand, I want to show you something. Something that everybody should see, but also something that nobody should see. Dewy eyes in mugshots, sullen, starving stares, a landscape paved with scars and more. But mostly, let me show you hope and optimism, solidarity and compassion, brushes of palms that make cheek glow again, rebuilt lives like tattoos over scars. Thank you.
Take me by the hand, I want to show you something. You may think you know, as I did, but nothing, no books or films or documentaries can prepare you for what you see and hear in these places. It is indescribable, the pain and anguish you feel, all brought on by the reality that hits you, the reality of the gate, the reality of the train tracks. You're standing there where they stood, watching where they worked, experiencing where they lived. Except you're not. Not at all. We're cold, walking around in multiple thermal layers. We're tired after having 9 hours sleep and walking about a mile. We're hungry after 3 meals a day. This is not the same experience. Nowhere close. Whilst there, you will see the best and worst of the human race has to offer. You will see the people that organised and were held responsible and made all of this happen. And you will hate and get angry, and rightfully so. But you will also see the fire in some people's heart, the love for others that so many people had, people who saved people and risked themselves. Whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
Take me by the hand. I want to show you something. You will never be emotionally prepared for this journey. Walking into that camp changes you and your outlook. You see the world differently. The faces you see and the people you meet are unforgettable. The words you hear are engraved in your heart, the pain, the suffering, the hope. It will have a strange effect on you. It's an experience you will never forget. The stories that have been shared are embedded in your memory forever. The person you are when you arrive is a very different person to the one that you are when you leave. You're part of one of the most horrific events in history, and you must find peace within the stories and the people and the survivors with their ongoing message of hope. You must find the strength to share your experience, and it's important that then people aren't just numbers on a page, that their legacy and memory lasts and lives on forever through this experience. You will never forget. Thank you.
What you are about to see is unexplainable, indescribable. You will want to shout, to cry, to change the world entirely. Open your eyes and explore the horrors of what each individual went through. You owe it to them. You need to know. You thought you knew all there was to know. You've heard stories, watched films and heard it in school. No, you couldn't be more wrong. It is unbelievable just how inaccurate your expectations were. Think of them, their ashes planted into the ground, used for pathways. Never will they be freed from Auschwitz. For all of eternity they shall be walked over, lower than the rest. But why? Why? The most asked question. I cannot understand it, and quite frankly I don't think that anybody ever will. Frustration. The explicit cruelty, the torture, the disrespect and lack of humanity are enough to make you think, to make you a new person. A muffled voice from the past struggling to be heard. Hear them. Hear all 6 million of them. And when you hear them, never forget.